Hi everyone, it's Keren here from tuppencecoloured.co.uk. Thank you very much for joining me, and this is what I've been making today. It's a double Z fold card. The supplies that I'm using to make my card today, the base card is blueberry bushel. It's 5.5 inches by 11, so that when it's all scored and folded it will be a 5.5 inch square card. I've got some of the Gingham Gala DSP or Gingham Gala, depending on how you want to pronounce that, and I've cut that to 5.25 inches square, and I've got two other pieces that are 5.25 inches by, and that is 2 5/8. So cut two of those panels. I've got the offcut of the blueberry bushel, and this is 2.5 inches. I may trim that further, I'm not 100% sure. I have some Whisper White for stamping on and for cutting out. And to do my stamping, I've got this stamp set. It's called Tea Together and Blueberry Bushel ink. And I'm going to be doing a little bit of die cutting with the companion framelets. They're called Tea Time. And at the moment, you can only get these as part of Celebration. So this is a level 2 reward, so you have to your order has to be £90 before postage and packing, but it is going to be available for you to buy in the annual catalogue. But why would you do that when you can get it now for free? I've got both pieces of blueberry bushel in my Simply Scored, because they're going to be scored in the same place, and I'm going to start by scoring at 2 3/4 inch, and I'm going across both pieces, and then I'm going to score at 5.5 inches to fold it in half, and I'm going to fold it back. Okay, and that is going to be the shape of the card. I'm going to do exactly the same with this piece in half, and then the two. This is a card that look like that, and that's exactly what I want at this stage. The next thing I'm going to do is to cover my card base with the Gingham Gala, and this is Balmy Blue. There are 5 different colours that you get in the pack, and I'm going to put this one down with the smaller checks uppermost, sort of like that. And let me just check that this is about the right size. Yes, it is. Yep, so this one is also going to be with the smaller checks uppermost. I'm going to put it that way around, and this goes right up to the crease, and I'm lining it up top and bottom. Now for this piece on this side, I'm going to turn the paper the other way about. Don't have to. Okay, totally don't have to, but I am going to. But I am going to line it up so that the top and the bottom are in line. Alright, so that's my base card covered. Right, now next I'm going to put the Z fold piece onto the base, and to do that I'm going to start by folding the card up, and I'm just going to apply my liquid adhesive just in this panel. Let's just get it a little bit nearer to the edge. I'm going to decide about where I want it, which is up a bit, just a little bit like that. Okay. Here is my Stamparatus, and 3, 2, 1. Here is my Stamparatus. I've got a sheet of grid paper on the base, and because I'm using a cling stamp, I'm going to be working directly on the base. I'm not going to be using the sponge mat, and I'm just going to begin by inking up my 2 stamps, and I'm going to have 2 teacups, but I only want 1 teapot. Alright, now it's not the most brilliant of stamping, but that doesn't matter, because all that was for was to give me an outline to line my template up with. And all this is just the negative space that was left after I cut out my die cut. Okay. My washi tape appears to have wandered off. Just 1 second. Okay, so once I'm satisfied with the way that is lining up, I'm just taking a little bit of time, and then I can hold that down in a bit place with a bit of low tack tape, and the same thing goes for this piece. And I'm just going to trim that a little bit narrower, because I don't want it, don't mind it covering the template, but I don't want it covering up the bit that's where the stamping is going to happen. And of course I could do these one at a time, but since the Stamparatus is here and both of these stamps will fit onto my plate and they don't interfere with one another, then, you know, why wouldn't I? Why on earth not? Okay, so now I've got my templates in place. I can put my previously die cut pieces, and I can ink up my stamps. And this is something that I like to do with the Stampin' Up stamps that come in these very handy cases. It's one of the things I like about Stampin' Up, is the way that they've thought about how you're going to store your stamps. I use that to support the stamping plate, and it makes it easy to apply the ink, you see. So I'm just pressing all over my stamps, and I'm having a look at those, and I'm quite happy with the way that they've come out. So I'm just going to take them out of the Stamparatus, and I want one more teacup because this is going to be tea for two. I don't need to re-ink the pot. I'm just going to re-ink the teacup and press that down, and it's not going to do any harm to anyone, right, because it's just on a piece of grid paper. And there we go. And I've stamped 2 cups, but I could stamp 20 or 100. And as long as I don't move this jig or this stamp, they're always going to be the same. I want to add some further decoration to my my teapot and my teacups. And this stamp has got a nice void in the middle of it where I can line up my flower just like this. Alright, now I don't want the teapot anymore, so I'm going to very carefully, and I mean very carefully, because this is a cling stamp and it's super sticky, and if you try and pull it all away in one go, you stand a very good chance of ripping your stamp. Now again, the jig hasn't moved. I've used the big stamp to line up my little stamp, so this should, fingers crossed, go exactly where I want it, which is there. Which it did. I've just smooshed some of the blueberry bushel ink from my ink pad down onto a clear block, and you could use something like a DVD case or anything like that. Just something that's non-absorbent and hopefully something that you can see what the colour is. And I'm just picking it up on my blender pen, and I'm just applying some colour to the centre of the flower here. More elements before I start putting the card together. I've got some of the pearlized doilies, and I've stamped the sentiment "Love is a warm cup of tea" out onto a piece of Whisper White, and I've just punched it out with I think that was a 1 1/4 inch circle punch. A 1 inch punch would just about fit. I've gone ahead and I've trimmed one of the doilies in half, and I'm going to trim this one down because I want this one to fit on the inside with my sentiment. I'm just trying to decide which would be better. I think I'm going to trim it down as far as here. Actually, I think I'll do this first, and I'll decide how it looks and trim it down into one of these rings. So I'm going to speed this bit up. I'm going to attach the doilies to my card with the pearlized side down. And it's a funny thing because the pearl finish on these is beautiful, but I think usually whenever I've used them, I've always used them with the plain side up. And the reason why I cut it down is that if I left this bit on, it was just a little bit too big, and I don't want it popping out from inside the card. So this goes on top of it. Is my sentiment. Love is a warm cup of tea. I do like a cup of tea. I know there are people there who favour coffee, but when it comes to tea, I'm a true Brit. I love my cup of tea. Alright, so this one I've cut in half, and I'm going to use both pieces. I'm not going to be quite as fussy with the glue on this one. I'm just going to put it on those larger pieces, and I want one piece along this top edge here. How I want it to look. I think there's a very good chance. Anyway. Okay, so my teapot. Although generally speaking, a teapot is kind of shorter and rounder than this. If I was asked to guess with this one, I probably would have said it was a coffee pot. So I want to keep the adhesive away from this part of it. So I want to keep it towards the bottom. Because that bit is going to be sticking up over the top. Now I do want it, let me stick the spout down as well. I do want it to kind of just tip on. I want it to look like it's pouring out a nice cup of tea for somebody. So that looks like a good place to put it. Okay, so there's my teapot. And now here's the teacup. And this one I'm just putting my adhesive all over the back of it. Alright, so how do I want it to go? Around about like that, I think looks pretty good. Okay, and my last one is going to go around about here. And well, I think it definitely needs a bit of doily, but I think a half is going to be too much. Let's see, shall we? I can put that there. Oh my, look at that. Oh yes, I think we're definitely going to do that. That was a happy accident. That was not planned. That was not planned at all. But, do you know what? Let's put my other cup. I think it needs to go that way. And here is my finished card. Off camera I went and added in a few more bits of doily, and I was a little bit annoyed with myself because I realised that actually I could have put a whole doily, or at least 2 half doilies, over this area here, and it would have looked really good with that cup. And I did see if I could try to get the cup back off the card, but I couldn't, not without ruining it, so I decided to leave it as it was. But I do think that would have looked really effective. So, and that's my project for today. I hope that you've enjoyed it, and I'm very, very grateful that you've chosen to stay with me right to the end of this video. I'm going to be back again soon with another project. Meanwhile, if you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to click that like button, subscribe to my channel, don't forget to click the bell for notifications. But meanwhile, that's it for today. I'm really glad that you joined me, and I hope you'll come back and see me again sometime soon. But for now, bye bye.